All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. We are live and thanks for watching. I'm really excited today because what I wanted to do was kind of jumpstart the weekend a little bit and do some work in the soul field. And for a lot of us, we have our daily practices that we do. Maybe you meditate, maybe you just align in to the field, or you stay in a really calm space and you just allow yourself to feel source and divine light. But there's so much going on the planet right now that a lot of times I feel like, let me just double check my mic. We're good. Okay. A lot of times I feel like, and let me know, everyone, if you can hear me okay. This should be plugging into my microphone, hopefully. But a lot of times I feel like we get very much connected in to sort of the day-to-day stuff. And there's no doubt that right now there's so much happening in the energy matrix that it's very easy to begin to, let me see if I can raise my volume a bit. It's very easy. Okay, I think that's good. Let me know if the sound is okay, everyone. That would be great. It's very easy to actually get sort of stuck into patterns and into loops and into frequencies that take you from that true source of like essence and power. And this happens even to me as we're getting ready for the next season of UL's Revolution. I'm working on different things. I'm thinking about and plugging into the greater consciousness, like what is the next big thing that we have to move through to get to this fifth dimensional earth. How do we do that? What's the fastest way to get there? And oftentimes, like, we're plugging in it and then things sound as okay. Thank you, Mr. Bassinator. I love it. Definitely. Thank you. Much appreciated. So as we're doing all that, like, you may feel like you're distracted, like you just have this low energy. You can't figure out what it is. You feel negative. You feel like maybe the thing that you really want to do is just not possible, or maybe it's just like you don't even know what you want to do, right? You just feel like hopeless. It's very easy to get into that spiral. And the thing that I want to talk about today, I think that comes up a lot, is what's really stored in our energy containers, right? So a lot of times when we do energy healing at UL's Revolution, we work at the energy level of the body. But today we're going to be working at the energy level of soul and source, because there is a field of energy around our soul, around our karmic body, around our bio field. There's a lot more. There is actually a earth and heaven bliss matrix or bliss energy field that is in existence, and it lies above the third dimensional energy field. We may call it like the mutant matrix or this like third dimensional grid. So if you can imagine the earth, probably one day I need to do some drawings here, but I'm going to draw this out for everybody, and then you're going to see, right? So we have sort of like this is I'm drawing this for everybody, but imagine the earth, and then we have sort of like this 3D right here. So hopefully everybody can see this, right? So we have the earth, and then we have like this 3D matrix, okay? And that's where sort of all the collective thoughts and beliefs and ideas are in this 3D matrix. I'll hold this up a little longer so people that are just plugging in. So all of those collective thoughts, ideas, beliefs about what's possible, beliefs about how we derive energy, what's possible on the planet, our beliefs about, diseases and our lifespan, our beliefs about the planet, our beliefs about resources and scarcity. Everything exists in that dimensional grid. Let me go get a better marker here. Hold tight, guys. So everything exists in that dimensional grid, and we are kind of plugging into that invariably throughout our day. I mean, if we go out and we look at Facebook, for example, and there's an article about, what's happening with the planet, with politics, with anything going on, we're connecting in to that grid, and we basically begin to download a lot of that information. We begin to hold a lot of that information in our field. And so we never actually connect in, most people during the day, to this here. This is a little better. We never actually connect in to that source field that's beyond this third dimensional grid. And that should be a D. And now I realize I have to actually write backwards to make this work. But if y'all could see, so this grid here kind of locks people in. And so it's very easy to get locked into that. And sound is good, my brother. Thank you, Valerie. Good to see you. So if you're feeling like just very drained or very like, not possible, you're moving into the weekend, maybe you're stressed, maybe you thought that, it's going to be better if at this time in your life or at this time in August, we're already August 2nd, who would have thought the month would go by so quickly? All of that stuff, we're going to connect in today to this higher dimensional field. This is the earth and heaven bliss field. And I'm going to draw that out real quick because it's actually up here. Okay. It's actually much higher up. And I'd like to actually draw this out for y'all. And if you look at this now, we've got this higher dimensional bliss field, right? It's beyond 3D. It's beyond all of that stuff. And up here is kind of like your soul. Your soul is right here. Okay. You have a soul that is connecting in that can go, it's obviously connecting into your body, but your soul is existing in this bliss field up here. And it's trying to reach you. Like it's trying to filter through all of this third dimensional garbage and filter it through. This is why I think we're seeing so much on the planet. I mean, I talk a lot about current events. Like when I talk about things like, we got to be careful about things like AI, or we got to be careful about, certain big tech companies controlling like freedom of thought, because one of the agendas that can come in is an agenda where humanity is just like trapped here in this 3D grid, right? This is the realm of like just the body and pleasure and do whatever you want, or material acquisition, where you want to acquire as much as possible. And like, it's all about how much stuff you have. And, and I see this a lot too. I came from a space where I was teaching entrepreneurs how to build businesses, and people would be like, well, I just want to make a bunch of money. And my soul was like, Darius, you can't keep doing that. You can't teach this to these people. Like there's more that they need to know. It's not about that. It's about what's your soul purpose, your legacy. What are you really here to do? And so the more you stay trapped in this agenda, it's actually even harder to actually be, in a place of abundance. You're actually like stuck because you're never going to actually ignite the deep wisdom, the deep guidance, the deep truth that's in this higher soul field. So that's a whole separate discussion. But what I want to do right now is like a real set of energy processes to jumpstart you through your day and help you move in to connect into this information field. Now, at the same time, it's pretty wild is that at another layer of this soul, there's also karma. So let me grab this. You'd think I'd have everything put together before I decided to do a live stream, but I didn't. So there's also karma kind of at this layer. Now, these are my interpretations. People may have some different views on this, but this blue layer is kind of like a karmic layer, right? So it's not that our soul necessarily is carrying karma, because our soul is, very much at a high level, but there is a karma field that's sort of around that soul field. And that can influence some of what we experience, some of what we download. So we want to move through that karmic layer as well. But the thing that we have to remember is that everything is source, even the good stuff, the bad stuff, the things that seem dark in our world, it's all source field energy. And it's all actually just misaligned from source field energy. So it's not that it's actually bad or good at the higher dimensional energies. It's just at this third dimensional duality, it looks like it's completely separate. So one of the things we want to do is actually begin to align that. So the thing that we're realizing now is it's not about fighting the energy. It's not about suppressing the energy. It's not about trying to actually make the energy bad and clear it out per se. We're really trying to clear out the perception of the energy, the perception we're holding in our energy field, in our body field, that is locking that energy into 3D. So let's get started with that. And here's a quote that I was downloaded with. I want to share with everybody that there is nothing without source energy. The only thing is that energy actually forgot that it is part of source energy. So there's nothing without source energy. It's only that frequency or energy forgot that it's part of source energy. So we can begin to realign it, bring it back in to source, and bring it into that frequency. So let's do that. And again, if anybody's just joining us, I'm just kind of drawing this out for everybody a little bit backwards. I'm sorry. This is the Earth. This is the third dimensional field. We call this kind of like the mutant matrix, which is a place where we have all of the collective thoughts, we have all the collective beliefs, we have all the collective ideas, frequencies, malalignments. We have beliefs about our aging process. We have beliefs about the world and resources, how we derive energy, how we heal, political beliefs, all of it, all of the morphogenetic fields, all contained within here. But then we also have, this layer of you, this connection point of you, that is this soul field, right? And this is where you are. You're right here. And the blue line is kind of like some higher level karma that also is connected in to that 3D grid and also some of those higher dimensions. So the goal to actually live an amazing life where you feel really connected is, as you are down here on Earth, and I'm just drawing this, that you are able to connect in to this soul without interruption, without disruption, without any things that are holding you back, and without distortion, because really it's distortion. Now, what happens is when a lot of this 3D energy that we look at and we believe that it is all powerful, and we disconnect and we just make our life about like all the 3D. So it's like the accumulation. What do we look like? How much do we have? Oh, I just turned on the news and there was a celebrity and they just got married, and look, they have a beautiful baby and I don't have a child. Or look, this person looks so young because they Photoshop their pictures. They use Instagram. Or, we see censorship on the internet, right? Where if somebody's sharing a new idea about something, maybe a big tech company says, oh, well, that's, we don't want that. So we're going to keep the purveyors of thought within this certain circumscribed reality matrix. We're going to keep it right there. That's the only place that we can like connect in. That's it. Okay, now we're all trapped out we're away from this here. Okay, so we want to open that up. So what I'm going to do is I want to do an energy process, and we'll be, another 10 minutes, and it'll just be a way to jumpstart your day. But I think the background was probably pretty important. So what I want to do is, if you're in a place to do so, just take a moment. You can sit down. If you're on your phone, you can relax, you can lay down. And we're just going to work in an area I call the ultimate dimension, or the blue zone. Okay, it's beyond the karma. It's beyond the earth grid layers, beyond the third dimensional grid layers. And I had two experiences where I went into this blue zone, and I was very fortunate to actually be able to remember the experience. I was able to remember what it felt like to be there, and this unexplainable bliss that just came over. I could even call it the bliss field or bliss zone. I've heard that as well. But we're going to bring this in. So I'm going to teleport myself into that field and the remembrance of that from the soul level. And then we're going to bring it in and focus on the left side of your body. And we're going to bring it in, and we're going to go out through the right side of the body. And then we're going to bring in some guides. So we're going to open this up for you. So just take a deep breath, a ground in. All right, so just imagine right now this vortex of energy. I'm bringing it in, going into your left side and coming in from this higher field and going out through your right side as a bliss field of energy. And so anything that is kind of lingering as a thought, as a feeling, as a frequency, we're just going to allow that as this torrent of energy coming in from this bliss field through your left side, going out your right. We just begin to swirl it out, almost like, imagine a tornado of energy just swirling, going through your energy centers, through your body, and just taking it out the other side to be cleaned. And we're going to ask right now that we bring in the guides for you. So just take a moment and feel these guides come in. And just notice any shifts in perception, any feeling of like a presence, a good presence. I can feel some Palladian energy coming in here. And just feel into that and notice any subtle shifts, any changes in temperature. Just feel them start to come in. And now we're just going to ask that you breathe into this field of bliss and totality of being with every breath. And we ask that your guides right now that are here with you begin to help move any discordant energy that's in your field or in your presence back into alignment with its highest place. And if there is any energy that's a little bit stubborn, a little bit challenging, we just ask that that energy be lifted out and taken by these guides to its highest place. So we're going to move all that energy that's in your field right now out of any of the karmic cycles, right? Because the karmic cycle locks all that stuff in. That's why if you've, heard Paul Weisbar, he talked about when he met the yogi, somebody had like a bad mood, or they just had a really bad personality trait, or they were rude. The yogi would just say, oh, it's just karma. It's just their karma, right? So whatever it is that's trapped in your body, we're moving it out of the karmic cycle. We're asking these guys to come in and move it out of the karmic cycle, right? And right now I'm thinking, is this going well? Can people get this? Am I totally messing it up? So I'm taking that and I'm moving that out of the karmic cycle. Again, this vortex of energy coming in through the left side. Guides are helping us. Imagine a tornado. We're moving that out of the karmic cycle. It can be free because that energy wants to go back to source. Karma is kind of like this really interesting filter, right, that we have with our soul level that basically traps that karma in there till we work it out. So it's part of our soul agreement, but we can actually accelerate the process because of the new energies coming in. So we're going to actually now bring love in. And this is a little bit like the Ho'oponopono work, but we're just going to bring love to whatever feeling it is that you've been feeling. And we're going to say to that energy, I'm sorry that you were separated from truth and light. You can just put your hand on your heart. So whatever it is you were feeling or whatever heaviness you feel, I'm sorry that you were separated from truth and light. So now as I'm doing this, like I'm thinking, okay, is this going well? There's all that feeling. I'm the little boy. I'm a little scared. Am I being a big dork right now? Whatever it is, right? I still can have those feelings. That's okay. I'm grateful for that. I'm sorry that you were separated from truth and light. I'm sorry that you were separated from truth and light. And we just let that energy go. And just repeat that as much as you need to, but we're going to go a step further now. So what we're going to do now is just send in the energy of love, and we're going to say, I love you. You are safe. 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 And as that goes, just make note of your feelings and how you feel. Now, one of the things that also happens is we can have agreements, okay? We can have contracts. We can have life lessons that are sort of imprinted in our path here. And we can forgive the energies, but, it's like saying, well, I forgive this person for being mean to me, right? Forgive my landlord for shutting off my electricity. But if we have a contract to live in that apartment for a year, we could forgive the landlord, but he could still do it again and again. And if he's a really bad person, we don't want to be stuck in that contract. So we want to exit those arrangements and agreements. We want to begin to exit as much as possible those third dimensional arrangements and agreements. So we're going to do a revocation. And this is really powerful. We're bringing in universal law, cosmic law. So we hereby revoke any and all agreements, arrangements, alignments, whole or in part, directly or indirectly associated with the sovereign energy of you, the person listening. And you can say your name right now, that are in contravention and violation of universal law. We'll do it again. We hereby revoke any and all agreements, arrangements, alignments, whole or in part, directly or indirectly associated with the sovereign energy of, insert your name, that are in contravention of universal law. All right, now what we're going to do, we're going to ask our guides to go in and remove any malevolent energies, beings, frequencies around you and move them to most beneficial place or dimension or frequency. So let's do that right now. Just hold out your hands in a way that feels right. We're going to say, we ask right now for the person watching this video that their higher guides remove any malevolent, bad, dark, unconnected, disconnected energies, beings, or frequencies around that sovereign individual watching this video. You can insert your name now and take them to their most beneficial place, dimension, or frequency. We forgive all. And we align the person watching this video, insert your name, with the universal energy of this earth and all things. So just feel into that. Feel into what that feels like. We do not want to hold grudges. We don't want to hold anger, energy toward any being. We forgive. We forgive those beings because they were disconnected from source and they played a role for us to see the shadow in the dark. We forgive them and we ask our guides to send them back to their place, and they're gone. So feel what your body feels like right now. Let me know at the bottom of this video if you're watching what it feels like, or later on, even if it's been replayed, let me know what you feel. All right, so now what we want to do is, we've got a lot of prototypes on our planet. We've got a lot of things that we sort of grew up with, this idea of like the savior complex, the archetype complex, the density paradigms, birth death matrix. We have all these ideas. I mean, just even the idea that we are going to, we're going to live to be about 80 or 90. This is a prototype. This is a matrix that's been sort of imbued in our collective belief system for a very long time. So we're going to do like a flash burn, a clearing, and we're going to release anything that's holding us to this lower vibrational matrix. So let's do it. All right, Source God, transmute, flash burn any connection to false agendas and the mutant matrix. We disconnect from any beings on this planet right now who have no symbiotic resonance to this earth field, Gaia and Tara Earth. I want to explain that a little bit, because one of the things I've learned through the years from a lot of different people, like Ed Spina, from the Freedom Series, from Gage Corman. I mean, just, it's like so many people have talked about this, right? They are energy beings or energy frequencies or energy influences on this planet that do not have symbiotic resonance with Earth. And the reason that as our consciousness goes higher and higher up, that these beings are getting really like flustered is because they can't survive in this resonance. We've talked about sort of like the Draco and that sort of energy actually being cut off from the rest of the universe, and they're actually like here as like a final stronghold, kind of like on a deserted island. And when this frequency keeps rising, we get to the fifth dimensional Earth, there's no symbiotic resonance anymore. They can't feed off of the lower vibrational energy of fear and worry and anger and division. So they're basically going to, in some way, energetically starve. But it's even more than that. Like, they won't even exist. Like, we actually just, they disappear, right? There's no way for that projection to exist, because the frequencies that were creating that projection and sort of feeding it are gone. It's kind of like you turn off the light bulb on a projector. The film is there, but there's nothing to actually project the hologram anymore. So the film is as good as useless. I mean, that's kind of what's going to happen. So what you see a lot in try to get out of politics on this one, but like what you see a lot in sort of the old grid of political division is a lot of that separation, because the more we can separate humanity based on gender, race, beliefs, and all that stuff, the more we can keep people in, as I say, that lower root chakra energy where you're very fearful. You're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen if these people take over, or they do this, or they do that, or they're doing this to me. And so you see a lot of news programming, which is definitely third dimensional archon and draconian influenced, actually plugging people into that fear matrix, because it lowers the energy and they feed off of this energy. So you may say, well, I can't believe that my news anchor is like he's not a archon or Draco, but they're tied into a system that's been on this planet for a very long time called the mutant matrix, that is influenced by those lower 40 energies. And the lower 40 energies that influence that basically have perpetrated and created a system where that is being fed. There's stories, I remember Corey Good said that these ships with these kind of lower 4D Draco reptilian beings would actually park over battlefields, and they would just literally soak up all of the suffering and the pain and the death energy and the very dark energy from like battles. So thank you, Valerie. Wow, I feel so much lightness now, so much darkness flowing out of my stomach area. All right, I better keep going. I'm getting into too much stuff. Sorry, y'all. Okay, Valerie, thank you. And thank you, Maj Reed Birdsong. Thanks for writing in. I was like, does anybody still watching this? Everybody's gone. Okay, so what we just did, let's go back and we're going to keep bringing in more light, okay? So source God, transmute, flash burn, any connection to false agendas and the mutant matrix. We disconnect from any beings that have no symbiotic resonance to this earth field, Gaia, and Terra. Any beings. So if we have any connection to political figures, to people on TV, to radio, to people that trigger us, if you're triggered by current events, we disconnect from any beings that have no symbiotic resonance to this earth field, Gaia, and Terra. So we know from a lot of our research and a lot of our work and some brilliant people that there was seeding on this planet from the Pleiadians and Arcturians. Lemuria was a seeded colony. Atlantis was a seeded colony. And they were much more in resonance with this Gaia Earth and this Terra Earth. When those fell, we were also now reseeded in another way. We call this the draconian grid. And there's a lot of stories of that. So we're going back to that original field. We're also going to now delete some original sin matrices and ideas. So we now delete the original sin matrix, religious prototypes, male godhead programming, which is definitely not reality. God is not a male or female. It's source, false archetypes, density paradigms, birth, death paradigms, aging paradigms, sin, savior, narratives, and illusions. We now delete the false template of the incarnate body as separate, and we integrate them as one body of galactic unification. So I'm going to talk about this and then we're going to do it again. This will be really important. Well, then we'll be wrapping up. So one of the big templates that we have on the planet right now that is actually locking us into this like cycle of not truly awakening is this idea that the body is at one level and the spirit soul is at another level, right? And that the spirit soul is somehow more awakened and aligned and wise than the actual body, right? And that they're separate. And right, well, when I die, I'm going to go to heaven and be in bliss. And even in this model, like part of what I'm sharing, even in this model, it's like, okay, here's the spirit, here's the soul. So we don't want these separate. My whole purpose in this is kind of where we are. And the arrow is that we want both of them just as powerful. We want both of them on the same one galactic body of unification. So what's happening is we're bringing that heaven and earth bliss field together. What 5D earth is not that our soul is like separate. 5D earth is that we're living with the soul integrated with the body. And then we're creating what that would project out on the planet as a new earth, right? So we want to bring those together. So this idea that the body is not as good as the soul, or when we die, we're going to figure it out, or we'll be in bliss in heaven. What do you think all of that does? All that does is it makes earth a place of suffering and heaven a place of bliss, right? So if earth is a place of suffering, you might as well just enjoy yourself as much as possible, try to accumulate as much stuff as possible, as much pleasure as possible, as much like things, because you're pretty much in a shitty place and it's going to suck, right? Whereas if we see earth as like, no, this is part of this galactic body of unification. My soul is right here. My soul, my light is creating right now, and I have that power right now. We walk around much differently. We don't have to be afraid of anybody. We don't have to be feeling different than anybody. Our soul is actually connecting into everybody in the same way at all times. So we're going to do this again. We're going to delete the false template of the incarnate body and spirit as separate, and we integrate them in our body, you the listener right now, as one galactic body of unification. So feel right now, your soul, not as separate or as having information from a higher field, but integrated. That mutant matrix, those beings that are not in symbiotic resonance with the earth, they are no longer in your field. They are no longer connecting. They are no longer distraction resonance. You're now completely unified. Feel that unification with your soul light. And now we are going to imprint the original Christos template. Now, this doesn't have as much to do with Christ or religious. This is actually this higher dimensional field of the 12-strand DNA of our Christos template, our original divine blueprint, seeded all the way back from the star families. Not what we think we are because of school or because of religious programming or TV programming or the color of our skin or the color of our eyes or the, all that stuff. That's all draconian separation. We're going to align to the original Christos template and feel that right now. You can imagine, if it feels right to you, just a template of the divine star families, your original star home, your original consciousness seated frequency coming into your field right now, just kind of imprinting down on you and breathing into that. You may get a vision of a star family or a group. You may get a vision of some beings that are your connection to this higher dimensional energy. So just feel that coming in, feel it coming into your field. And then we're going to basically bring in right now one big final blast. And so we're going to activate right now the soul sovereign immunity and immortality into all of our body cells. So this star family immortality. So feel right now this infinite star family energy that doesn't die, it doesn't end, it doesn't grow old, it doesn't do anything. It's infinite, it's through all space-time. And we're just going to bring this in to every body cell from our head to our toes. So we're just going to start from the bottom, bringing it up, bringing up from our feet to our calves, feeling like sort of the cells like popcorn just kind of coming alive, going in, going up through the chest, up through the shoulders, through the heart, feeling the heart chakra begin to expand out massively. Feeling this opening, we're going to be bringing in all the chakras, unifying the chakras so that there's no longer 12 chakras or 7 chakras. There's one giant open chakra connecting into your star home of origin. And as all of that now starts to come in, I guess I'm burping up, sorry. So all that starts coming in, we're just going to now open our eyes to a new world. All right, so that's a short process of like the soul field integration and this sort of like reconnection. So if you ever find yourself kind of like feeling a bit off in the morning or when you wake up or just kind of not feeling right, you can do this process. So looks like Madrid Birdsong. Oh my God, how freaking awesome. I feel so connected. A phrase has been rattling in my head since yesterday. Do not be decisive. Choose to be united. Yeah, united. I love it. Absolutely. This is exactly what it's about. So let me know what you're feeling. And I want to thank everybody just for watching. I wanted to do this in the morning. And there's anything else you want to chat about or you have any other questions about anything, definitely send them on in. But thank you everybody for watching. And one of the things I think also that I would say here is as we get closer and closer to more of this galactic energy coming in, and it just keeps coming in waves and waves and waves. One of the things that creates like discomfort and discord in ourselves. So if you're going through a bad day and you're like, I don't know why I just feel so off. I feel so frustrated. I feel like I'm just so not connecting in. Is actually because more of that higher dimensional energy is trying to reach you and trying to get you to notice where things are off. If we just say, I'll just get rid of it. Let's just get rid of it. I just want to feel good, get rid of it. That's one way, but if there's a deeper message behind it, we want to actually find out what that message is. And then we want to look at what's there, and then we want to let go of that. And that's the key to actually having the awakening experience. So thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts down below. And this is the soul field, source field healing that I've been downloading for the last year from a lot of different sources. And it's something that we're actually going to be using as we move into this new Earth grid and getting out to more and more people to move the pendulum into awakening. So thanks, everyone. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you maybe tomorrow for the next coffee talk and energy healing session. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks, Marguerite. I'm very grateful as well for you. I'm sorry, Marguerite. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Valerie. Thank you, Ambassador. Thanks, everyone. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.